this theater. In the audience, we have Michelle Bartok, and we have Rachel Coopin somewhere in the back. And then we'd also like to thank some of our donors. There are some Wall of Famers, the people that really made this space happen. We'd like to thank the Healy family. I don't know where they are.
They're right here.
I'd like to thank Donna Wood. Kelly Loro, and our newest Wall of Famer, who isn't up there yet, who's also in the audience, Michelle Riley. So we'd also like to thank a few other donors. Like we have Friends of the Theater program, which is doesn't amount much more to $1 a day.
And tell them about what happened in their PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, in the PowerPoint presentation. We've got the projector, we have the laptop, we have the screen. But for some reason, these pieces cannot work, or at least I can't figure them out to make it happen. So I'm sorry for the
And tell Kat that she's sitting in props.
and Kat, you're sitting in a prop. You're in a prop too. So we have to move you on the stage as well.
Sorry about that. That'd be funny.
No worries. So we'd like to thank a few other of our donors. Where was I? I was on the PowerPoint presentation trying to get to our Friends of the Theater program, which doesn't amount much more than $1 a day. It's, we'd like to thank Visage Envy. We'd like to thank El Camino del Sol, Spanish immersion preschool.
El Camino del Sol.
Aja Rugs and Visage Envy.
You're at that.
And I think without further ado, I'd like to introduce our director, Loralie Mcgill.
Our director.
How do we find your website?
What?
How do we find your website?
www.classictheater.org.
Check us out. Go on, thanks.
Okay, so turn off the phones before I forget. The children, did you guys unplug the phone back there?
Yes.
We have and the plane is really loud because there's 2 of them. So if someone were to call the theater right now, the actors are trained to just stop and freeze. Before I give my little speech, I just want to thank my artists. All the art that you see in this space has been put here by local artists who I approached, and they put their things in here on consignment, the jewelry outside, the art on the walls. Wendy Starling, Norm Daniels, Susan Gum, and Katie Murphy are, they're not only amazingly creative human beings, but they're just amazing people. So if you do nothing else but go around and just look at their artwork and appreciate it for what it is, then that's enough for me, to just look at it and take it in. So, everybody tells me to memorize this, but I'm sorry. Dear community members, thank you for attending our latest production. The Strange Case of Dr.Jeckyl and Mr. Hyde was born out of courage and willpower and determination. This space that we are in is the result of many, many, many years of hard work and effort put forth by not only myself, but our many contributors, supporters, and volunteers. I would like to thank each and every one of you who have helped to make this dream a reality. Thank you very much. There is one more person that I would like to especially thank, my husband, Brian Arbolino. Without his help, we could not have traveled so far. He is my patron, he is my support, he is my best friend, and I cannot do this without him. His passion, his passion and his encouragement is fundamental to the survival of this project. I would like to encourage all of you to get involved. We need board members, we need more volunteers, we need financial support from the community in order for us to continue this programming. We have a wonderful core group of board members, but we need to add to their numbers. We have had amazing financial support from this community, but it is only the beginning, and the program exists for our children. It is unique, it is free in its form, and is virtually non-existent anywhere else in San Diego. The play has been adapted from the original story. I've wanted to do this story for years with the children, but was unable to find a suitable script. So this year will bring us many new adaptations. The community has asked me to do more children's plays, and I have listened. But the stories must be told properly, and they must be told in their original form. Please continue to come to our shows and show your support for these children. They have worked unbelievably hard to make you laugh tonight and to make you think. I would like to make one note of the fact that Sammi, who is carrying the lead, came into the play with a much more minor role. But our lead had to drop the play because of health reasons. Sammi jumped into the role after weeks after rehearsal had already started and rose to the occasion to save this production. Yay. My heartfelt thanks goes out to her for hard work. Her dedication that she has put into this project. So with that, I would like to introduce the players of Classic Youth Theater and our rendition of The Strange Case of Dr.
When you're a stranger, faces look ugly. When you're alone, women seem wicked. When you're unwanted, streets are uneven. When you're down, you're all strange. Faces come out of the rain. When you're strange.
But Henry, you are now fully 55 years old, born to a large fortune, endowed besides with excellent parts, inclined by an age to industry, and fond of the respect of the wiser good amongst our fellow men, as with every guarantee of an honorable and distinguished future.
No, 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 Lanya. I have faults, and the worst of my faults is a certain impatient gaiety of disposition, such as has made the happiness of many. But I find it hard to reconcile with my imperious desire to carry my head high and wear more than commonly wear countenance before the public.
Oh, Henry, for God's sake, we all seek pleasure. I ask you, who among us is not sick?
I'm afraid, my dear Lanyon, stand already committed to a profound duplicity in life.
Well, such is the weakness of a human creature. We cannot help our frailties. We must blaze in such irregularities as we are all guilty of. There is no need to hide them and regard them with a sense of shame. Why, with such an exacting philosophy, it will cause a deep trench in your soul, more than the majority of men. We all must come to terms with our faults. You are no exception, Henry Jekyll. Do not look on them for degradation.
Such is the case, Lanyon. I have been driven to reflect deeply and inveterately on the hard law of life which lies at the root of religion, which is one of the most plentiful springs of distress. I declare I am not a hypocrite. Both sides of myself are in dead earnest. Is a man not himself when he lays aside restraint and plunges headlong into shame, just as he is at the furtherance of knowledge or the relief of sorrow and suffering?
Well, my good friend, this seems to me a question for the church, and not for scientific minds, such as ourselves. Men with morals have been grappling with such questions for thousands of years, and only men can bring up more confusion to the subject than answers. I say leave it to them. They can have it. As for me, I should like to stick to the cold, hard facts of scientific study.
That's just it. I have made a discovery in my scientific studies. Now, they have led me wholly toward the mystic and transcendental, which have reacted and shed a strong light on the consciousness of the perennial war among my members. I believe I near an answer.
Ha! Mystic. Ha! Transcendental. My point exactly. You have made it for me. Henry, have you lost your mind? These are not scientific studies.
But with every day, from both sides of my intelligence, the moral and intellectual, I have grown steadily near the truth. It is... Lanyon, I am begging you to listen to me. Man is not truly one, but truly two.
Venture no further, Henry. I'm warning you. We've been having these arguments for 10 years now, and I've had enough. I'm not a religious man, but even I know a heresy, a scientific blasphemy when I hear one. Do you have any idea of the implications of what you are saying? Are we not made in God's own image? Are you saying that man is both good and evil? How is this to follow? Is then God both good and evil? I've had enough, Henry Jekyll. I'll not listen to this rubbish any longer.
There may be more, Lanyon. I can only say 2 because the state of my own knowledge does not pass beyond that point. Others will follow, mark my words. Others will follow and outstrike me on the same lines. And I hazard to guess that man will ultimately be known for a mere polity of multifarious, incongruous, and independent denizens.
Ha! Fine set of things that would be. And what, may I ask, would ensue from this? Total and complete anarchy. And what role may government lead in such a state of confusion? Fine line in thinking, Jekyll, fine line. Going on with the sanity in my laboratory in science, actual science. You can contact me when you left off your insanity. Good night.
But I, in the nature of my own life, can only advance infallibly in one direction, and in one direction only, on the moral side. In my own person, I recognize the thorough and primitive duality of man. See that, of the 2 natures that contend in the field of my consciousness, even if I could rightly be said to be either, it is only because I am radically both. And even from this early days, before the course of my scientific discoveries have begun to suggest the naked possibilities of such a miracle, I learned to dwell with pleasure as a beloved daydream, the separation of these elements. Each could be housed in separate identities. Life would be relieved of all that is unbearable. The unjust would go his way, be able to wallow in his sin, seeking all that is most glorious in his flesh. Be able to hate, seek vengeance, lust, and greed, delivered from the aspirations and remorse by his upright twin. And the just could walk steadfastly and securely on his upright path, doing the good things which he found his pleasure, to feed the sick, tend to the poor, to live righteously and no longer be exposed by the hands of extraneous evil. It was the curse of mankind that these incongruous branches are twined together, that in the agonized womb of consciousness, these polar twins should be continuously struggling. How then are they to be dislocated?
I need somebody.